bit. I don't even know where to begin. Um, this is my last Diet Coke. We bought a new 12-pack last night. I couldn't find it anywhere. And I texted Paul, where are the new Diet Cokes? And he was like, I don't know, they're either in the trunk of the Subaru or we left them in the shopping cart. And he took the Subaru to work today because he discovered his Prius has a totally flat tire. So I can't check, and I can't take my receipt and try to get it back or buy a new one. I'm so upset, and but there's more going on than that. So I've been on this upped dosage of Strattera, and Dr. Allen called me this morning. Well, the thing is that I was told he would call me this morning, so I set my alarm for 9. I figured he won't call before 9, but if he calls at 9 or after, I won't be like, hello. But I was really sleepy, and it was really hard to stay awake. I went into the living room, and I had a diet Snapple and my meds and whatever. Read Data Lounge and just kept dozing off. Excuse me. And he didn't call till 11:30, which would have been fine if I'd known he was going to call at 11:30, because I would have slept till 11. But anyway, he wanted to know what's going on, of course, and I said that I've been having really strong mood swings. I've been feeling really sad. I've been crying a lot more. I mean, I cry easily, but this isn't like sobbing, breakdown crying. And Paul has been bitchy to me like every single day, like at one point or another. Like not all day, but there'll be like one thing that makes me feel really upset, and it's like hard to get past. So he was like, is there overwhelming stress? I was like, there is stress moving and stuff, but it's only been like the past week or so that he has had this really bad attitude with me. And then I strongly react to it, and then he does his retreat into his shell, and it cannot be discussed or worked through. So that's what's going on. And I guess that's the main. Oh, and on Friday, when I saw Michelle, that's not her name, Danielle, she was like, have you had suicidal thoughts? And I was like, no, I haven't. Like, I have them pretty frequently. Passingly, fleetingly. I haven't. And so she's like, well, that's good, you know. Well, there was some stuff with Paul last night, and just my mood in general, that I had an overwhelming, unstoppable thoughts, and I thought I should go to the hospital last night. But then I was like, I don't have a plan. My intention is not concrete, totally real. So I didn't tell anyone about it, because I feel like if I tell delicate Paul, he'll just feel sad. I mean, of course it is sad, but he's not strong like I am. He has never been a caretaker. He's never had anyone die in his arms. There's certain life experiences and sacrifices that he hasn't made. He's a great father, and he makes sacrifices for Poppy, and I think that's changed him for the better. But when it comes to adult complexity, I don't think he can't handle it. I mean, I've known this forever, for a long time. Forever, since the day I met him. When I met him, I was already taking care of my mother, part-time, and then full-time. So we were on a different trajectory from the beginning, where for me, it was about taking care of my mother, being treated like shit after that by my family, running away to escape, having nervous breakdowns, jumping from city to city, making friends along the way, which is good. Job after job after job. Marrying Kevin for some kind of feeling of safety, and then that wasn't safe. And just an exhausting kind of life. And he had his pains, but it was like, mommy is cold. My family doesn't understand me. I'll take this $100,000 and buy a house and smoke a lot of pot and not work and be in a band part-time and be kind of depressed. Like as if I hadn't had like this deep depression through all that chaos life. I don't know why I'm comparing us. I'm feeling bitter toward him, I guess, because he's been kind of a dick. And triggering me into like the things that trigger him. So it's like he says something shitty and then I cry. And then he goes away, like Unreachable Paul. This might have to be a 2-part thing. And in between the whole week, it's been fine. I don't know if it's been fine. I'm not feeling fine. So anyway, I talk to the doctor. I tell him it's like not what I just told you, but that we are having difficulty communicating and fighting, basically. And it's like affecting me intensely more than it normally would. And that last night I had many, 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 many suicidal thoughts. So he was like, all right, first thing we're going to do is cut the dose in half, because didn't you say that the first 2 weeks that you were on it at the lower dose that you felt like kind of better? So I was like, yeah. He's like, let's just go back down to that and see how you do. And so I'll have a prescription ready for you tomorrow. He was like, have you taken your meds today? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, pick it up tomorrow. And if you have those thoughts, that many, that obsessive, go to the ER. And I was like, you know that I'm not gonna do anything. Like, there's no real plan. Like, all I have to do is look at Poppy, and I know I can't do it. And he was like, I am afraid you might do something impulsive in a really intense mood, and even if you don't, that level of pain, where that's like taking over your mind, is serious enough on its own, and I want you to go to the hospital. If that happens, I'm going to be away all week, so that's what I want you to do. So I'm willing to go to the hospital. When Poppy was younger, I was not willing. Although it's hard to... I was really considering it last night, and there have been many times when I have told Paul, excuse me, that I feel suicidal, and he's usually like clams up, but usually he's like, this will pass, and it does. If that's what he'll say, this will pass, and that's what he says when he can somehow handle hearing such things. You know, when I'm having a really hard time, it's like I will tell him, I will confess whatever it is going on, and then he'll be silent, and I'll say stuff like, will you please respond to what I just said? And he'll like say, I don't know what to say, or it makes me really sad, or I'm very tired. And then I blame myself for troubling him, for being the burden. We had this. I'm sorry. Vlog like this. Crying. It's a side effect. I mean, I cry anyway, but we had this thing last night. I was like, I'm so sick of the way we are. I was like, we're so different. I was like, I make you feel bad, you make me feel bad. We never just work things out. We never have a fight. We never scream and yell at each other and then make up and work it out. He's like, I don't like screaming. Have you ever heard my mother scream? I was like, a little bit. I was like, are you traumatized by your mother? Like, and inside my head, I'm like, I'm sure you don't like your mother screaming, but I can't fucking imagine that you went through what I went through. But I didn't say that. I was just thinking it. But I was sympathetic. I was like, because he's never said such a thing. So I was like, did she yell at you a lot? Like, he was like, no, I just don't like to fight. So I was like, well, I'm sick of me saying something, you being silent, and me feeling worse, and you seeming to feel worse. It's a dynamic that's been going on since we were 18 years old. I can't stand it anymore. And I can smile, I can laugh. People that, people usually like me, and I'm a fun person. I can be a fun person, and everything. I've got qualities that are likable, and I have, I'm smart and all that. There's goodness about me I can recognize. I don't completely hate myself, but inside, I am shattered, like brokenhearted. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Broken. And I don't know if meds are going to help in therapy. Like, I don't know. I talked about this in therapy where I was like, the meds, we're running out of time on the meds. I see ECT in my future because that's what they do with refractory, whatever the patients that no meds work for. She was like, oh shit, it's 14:16. I guess I get to 14:30. I don't know what I'm talking about. I will start a second one if that's okay. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.